Global trade, even if it has witnessed a slowdown with the impact of the new US tariffs, it is still growing. World leader in logistics and delivery, DHL, announced that in the first half of 2025, global trade grew faster than in any half year since 2010, excluding the pandemic rebound. Tariff increases hit North America's trade growth outlook hardest. South and Central America and the Middle East and North Africa are the only regions with forecast upgrades according to the DHL Global Connectedness Tracker. Good news for the African continent, where DHL Group has committed €300 million to accelerate trade growth across Africa. The investment will expand infrastructure, enhance service capabilities, and unlock opportunities for business across key sectors, including e-commerce, perishables, energy, and life sciences and healthcare. The African Continental Free Trade Area is creating a continental market that can deepen intra-African commerce and open new corridors with the rest of the world.
It sounds to me quite similar to the intent of the ASEAN trading bloc, which is the sort of poster child of all free trade zones, 50, 60 years old, and now all those countries are trading nicely with each other. Africa is, 6 years in, and the extent to which Africa is trading with itself is actually at an all-time high. It is low, but it is also at an all-time high. It needs to complete and finish the whole process because there are 2-3 countries that haven't yet ratified the deal. There are 2-3 countries where tariffs still exist between, borders, and this needs to be, an as one, all-in effort. And then I like to use the example of India and the national logistics policy, where the countries and the continent grasp all the concepts of seaports, railways, where airports are, how airports can handle freight, airport handling agents, digitalization, and everything else. What DHL can do is give advice, be close to SMEs to help them ship from one place to another, and start building the need for export growth from one country to another, which in turn will build, the narrative from the business community to say, hey, we need a better airport, we need better roads, we need better customs between borders.
DHL acknowledges the importance of SMEs in global trade and have developed dedicated services to promote and accompany small and medium businesses.
What we do under the trade advocacy part is we use and we look for international partners that can help strengthen the network and the execution of stimulating the international trade. And typically it's around organizations such as the WTO or the ITC or the GIZ. And why do we look for these? They generally go out and promote international trade, rule-based trade. How it plays out in the market is they generally will assist governments around their customs processes, procedures, and digitalization. So that's quite an important part for us under Go Trade, because the better those processes are, the quicker trade moves. The quicker trade moves, the quicker you stimulate economic growth, and of course the cheaper it is, because your capital is tied up for a shorter period in terms of those goods. When it comes to the SME capacitating part of it, there are 4 general areas with which SME struggles around the world, both in developed and developing countries. And those 4 areas are access to finance, ICT, their skills and knowledge base, and then logistics. So what we've done at DHL is we've done a few things. Number one is we've created a training program that consists of 14 modules. And we've divided those 14 modules into 4 buckets of the SME life cycle. And very briefly, the first bucket is where an SME is thinking about starting their own business, be it products or services, and they start dabbling into doing business. The second bucket, if you want, is where the business is now trading. The business is trading on a regular basis. It generates regular cash flow. It's got regular orders. So it's starting to operate like a normal business. The third bucket, or the third bucket of life cycle of an SME, is where they're now operating really well. And the SME is starting to apply his or her mind around expansion and to say, how do I grow my business? And perhaps how do I grow my business across borders? In other words, take my business international. The fourth life cycle or bucket is where the SME has got a definitive target market or lane. So for example, if somebody in Mauritius wants to sell their services or goods to Zambia, for example. We then take that training program, the 14 modules that I mentioned earlier, and it's divided into those 4 buckets. So that's the first thing that we've done. The second part of the program we've embarked upon is to create an ecosystem where we invite different partners to help address the 4 challenges I mentioned earlier. So by way of example, if we talk about access to finance, we then invite commercial banks to come into that ecosystem with us, where we then help facilitate the interaction between a commercial bank and the SME. By the same token, most organizations today talk about SME programs. So we then take their training program, we combine it with our own, and suddenly you sit with an incredibly comprehensive training program from different parts and verticals of the macroeconomic market that help capacitate our SMEs in those 4 different areas.
The coming into effect of the African Free Trade Agreement, so let us think that there's a huge potential of trade, not just internationally, Africa to Asia to Europe, but intra-African trade. So how does DHL expect to contribute in this endeavor?
We're hugely excited about the potential of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. So there's a couple of ways in which DHL is positioning itself to help drive economic growth under the African Free Trade Agreement. The first one is we've equipped our salespeople with a really good knowledge base in terms of what the Africa Free Trade Agreement entails and how it plays out in practice. Why? Because where possible, we use that to inform our customers of what the potential is under the Africa Free Trade Agreement. Of course, with our network, our existing network across the continent, we're the only organization who's present in all 53 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. You couple that with our dedicated aviation or air fleet in Africa, puts us in a prime position to help stimulate that cross-border intra-Africa trade. What is the potential? I think it is enormous. If you think about the growth insofar as intra-Africa trade is concerned, it grew by about 12% over the last year. But intra-Africa trade is still around 15 or 16%, depending on which publication you read. You compare that with intra-European trade, which is around 60%. That just tells you there's an enormous difference, which in my world translates into an enormous opportunity. So I'm incredibly optimistic. Of course, like probably most private sector, a little frustrated around the pace at which it's getting implemented, but by the same token, we've got to be patient. Beginning of this year, Q1, there were only about 1,000 certificates of origin issued. Fast forward to July or August, that number got a 0 added to it. It's 10,000. It's a wonderful multiple. Of course, it's a drop in the ocean, but it's a great start, and we've got to continue to drive it. We've got to continue to hammer or play the Africa Free Trade Agreement drum, and we've got to make sure that organizations understand that there's great opportunity right here on our doorstep. It's called Africa.
According to the latest update of the DHL Global Connectedness Tracker, Sub-Saharan Africa led all world regions in the first half of 2025 with a 10% year-on-year increase in trade value, ahead of North America at 7%. Current forecasts as of September 2027 indicate the region's trade volume will grow by an average of 4.3% per year over 2025 to 2029, the second fastest globally behind South and Central Asia. Challenges faced by women in workplace, in businesses, or even at home. how to make those challenges become opportunities and how to deal with them. We have the opportunity to talk to Alison Renaud, who is a recognized expert in leadership, business strategy, and resilience. She has been in Mauritius giving lectures. She has been a consultant at NASA, providing her expertise there and also helping people till remote places such as Amazon rainforest. We see her career path and what she's got to say about leadership, especially regarding women, and how can women overcome challenges. Alison Renaud, so you are a recognized expert in leadership, and what is your reading understanding of leadership, especially for women?
I think women are extremely experienced. I think that they underestimate themselves. For instance, initially we often start off as mothers in the household, and in my case, I have 11 children. I planned to, and I had 9 more by surprise, but I think I'm working with 11 different individual personalities. I've had to learn to motivate, I've had to learn to nurture, correct, guide them down the right path, and this gave me a lot of experience to be a good leader in business. And it was really simple for me to transfer over into becoming a businesswoman because I also understood budget, money, economy, and how to take goals to the finish line. So I think women are natural leaders. Another thing that women have is we have natural empathy. We care about the people that are working for us, and we tend to check on their emotions, make sure they're okay. And in the end, I believe women can really partner with men, and it's very much proven that women can increase profitability in a company.
When we talk about women in business and leadership, they are often facing challenges and how to deal with that and become resilient.
Well, first of all, I'm not a feminist. I believe in the men, and we love our brothers, and men bring a lot to the table. They bring protective instincts, they bring power, they bring great presence. And so, I believe that men are fantastic, and we're stronger together in the end. And I believe that the best way to solve the problem is to start while the boys are young, to help teach the boys while they're young to respect the women and allow them, again, to do what they were born to do, and teach them that women can also do many, many things that men can do. And then also we must teach our girls, as I do. I own a gymnastics program, one of my businesses, where I currently train over 500 girl gymnasts. And so every day we don't just teach them gymnastics, but we spend 10 minutes during the training to make sure that they understand that in life they can become surgeons, they can become politicians, they can become CEOs, they can become great wives, they can become great mothers. And so we teach these girls to, at a very young age, speak up for yourself, be kind in how you do it. But again, the training, I believe, starts at a young age.
Alison Renaud, so you have an impressive career path. You've been a Harvard graduate, and also you've been to NASA. What was your work there at NASA?
Well, when I was at Harvard, and again, I didn't go to get my education until I was almost 50 years old. I was basically an uneducated high school girl raising all these children. So I had an amazing opportunity to get a scholarship to Harvard to get my master's degree. And while I was there, one of my professors suggested that I do all of my research in NASA and our U.S. space program. And so I spent several years interviewing top space professionals, astronauts, and even men that walked on the moon to find out, is it best that NASA goes to Mars right now, which was the case and the policy, or is it better to go to the moon first? And this was my research. And in the end, it showed that going to the moon first, proving ourselves, making sure that we could do all the technologies and life support systems for human beings first on the moon, and then take this and take it to Mars. And it ended up in a lot of space magazines, space journals, as well as I was asked by a New York publisher to produce this into a book. And it became the #1 bestseller on Amazon. It just so happened that it fell into the hands of Oklahoma Congressman James Bridenstine, who worked in Washington, D.C., represented the state of Oklahoma, where I was from. And I had a meeting with him, I was talking with him, and he suddenly realized, oh, this is the woman that has been putting out all this Harvard research, which is very credible, that we should go to the moon first. And he said, this is fantastic, this is the way this is the direction NASA should go. And as it turned out, just several months or even a year later, he was appointed the head of NASA. And he completely pivoted NASA and started the Artemis program, which is return to the moon first, and that's the path that we're on now. So I can't say that I was completely the one who changed his mind, but certainly I believe the credibility of Harvard research helped confirm that probably what he already believed in his heart was the right path for NASA.
One more question. Being a mother of 11 children,
Yes.
how do you cope with, the professional career and doing humanitarian works and family?
That's a great question. Well, women can have it all, but we just can't have it all at the same time. So I was actually a stay-at-home mother for 20 years first, and then started business, then started my education. And so for me, as the children began to get a little bit older, I began to branch out more and more through getting an education or starting more businesses as I have, and doing this humanitarian work around the world. So it's just been a life of chapters for me.
And one last question for you, Alison Renaud. You've been doing a lot of humanitarian job, being close also to corporates. Do you intend one day running for the post of the President of the United States of America?
Well, that would be a very challenging job, I think. I hadn't really thought about it, but I'm always open to whatever God's next plan is for my life.
Thank you very much. Dans nos segments T-Business, on dit dans Business Connect, nous intéressons-nous à une madame qui lance dans l'entrepreneuriat, les types de travail dans le domaine de l'hôtellerie, de l'événementiel, mais un jour, il a décidé, il a faire son propre business. Alors, nous parlons de madame Bettina Hens, qui est femme entrepreneur et directrice Nukaba. Bettina Hens, alors directrice, femme entrepreneur de Nukaba, on crée ça donc après qu'on finit sorti dans un secteur de l'événementiel. Comment on gagne cette idée-là et comment ça a développé?
Déjà, au fait, mon papa, dans les années 98, tenait un magasin. Et suite à son décès en 2003, ça me reste un lot, comme si quelque chose de lourd sur le cœur. Et ma maman, il me disait, tout le monde a fait magasin, il me disait, recommence tout à zéro, nous la vie partie facile. Et puis, ça me reste toujours dans la tête qu'un jour, je pourrais gagner le magasin de mon papa. Et forcément, faire à ma sauce, comme on dit, un nouveau concept. Je suis toujours passionnée par, c'est-à-dire fashion, le fashion industry. Je suis content de mon linge, ma robe, toujours à la mode. Et au fait, je me disais, pourquoi pas faire quelque chose justement par rapport à ça? J'étais quand même bien dans une grosse boîte à Maurice. Et du jour au lendemain, comme si tout bascule, Covid arrive, mon salaire se retrouve à 50% moins. Et à ce moment-là, je me disais non, mais ça a-t-il l'idée, ça a-t-il concept d'avant? Je dois mettre ça en place. Je commence à travailler sur le projet pendant le Covid. Et puis, bien sûr, en 2021, je commence avec 10 000 roupies pour savoir. C'est très peu. Je ne commence pas à acheter un petit stock, acheter 2-3 petites affaires, faire un test. Et puis, petit à petit, l'argent de mon salaire, tu peux contribuer petit à petit à agrandir, à mettre plus de stock, à acheter un site web. Et d'ailleurs, le site web, je ne crée pas moi-même. Parce que c'était déjà mon domaine, je connaissais déjà c'était quoi un site web, etc. Donc, ça l'avantage qui me gagnait. Nukaba, il crée comme ça, petit à petit, de fil en aiguille.
Il y a beaucoup de perceptions qui disent quand un chef d'entreprise ou un businesswoman, businessman, est capable de faire ce qu'il voulait, faire au business comme on vit. Est-ce que c'est ça vraiment? Être entrepreneur?
Non, c'est pas ça du tout. Au fait, les réseaux sociaux ont bien contribué à sa image idéale de l'entrepreneuriat. C'est pas ça du tout. Réseaux sociaux, il est là pour vendre du rêve aux gens. Ok, moi, comme je rentre dans ce monde-là, je savais que l'entrepreneuriat n'était pas simple. C'est une perception qui beaucoup d'immunes, non? Dire que oui, être entrepreneur, c'est la liberté. Oui et non. La liberté dans le sens qui est capable de gérer où l'État. la liberté ou décision. Par exemple, prendre une décision importante pour la compagnie. Mais ce n'est pas la liberté dans le sens où vous pouvez avoir plus de sacrifices à faire, ou pour sacrifier aux vacances, pour sacrifier un moment de familial, pour sacrifier au propre argent, réinvestir, toujours réinvestir pour pouvoir agrandir si vous avez envie d'agrandir au business.
Et si vous avez un conseil pour donner à un entrepreneur qui a envie de lancer et peut-être je ne connais pas, je suis un petit peu découragé, qui conseille ou tu veux donner?
Déjà, avoir le support de sa famille morale, très important. Il faut être motivé. Tous les jours, besoin de lever, besoin de dire, vous faites ça, vous faites ça, besoin d'être très discipliné. La discipline est très importante comme entrepreneur, en tant qu'entrepreneur. Moi, je peux dire, je ne pas abandonner de rêve, malgré qu'ils ont des difficultés, je dois préparer à ça aussi. Besoin juste persévérer aussi. Et surtout, je dois fort.
Business Connect, c'est terminé pour cette édition. J'espère que vous avez apprécié cette émission que vous pouvez retrouver sur notre plateforme en ligne. Au plaisir de vous retrouver la prochaine fois. Au revoir.